Good evening. Excuse me. I have a frog in my throat. Good evening. This is Pat from Pat's Card Corner, and we are coming to you live tonight. And it is time for, excuse me, I gotta get a drink. Excuse me, it is time for Therapy Thursday. So, I hope that you are ready. We should have a good time. And if you're here watching, please say hi and let me know that you're here and make a comment. And hopefully, I've got a new computer, so it's working. Yay! So far, so good. So, we are going to make a super fun card tonight. And I have a little trick to show you about how to cut something. And it's just a really fun card. So it's a little different. So if you've, normally when I tell you, I give you card bases, and they're normally, either 5.5 by 8.5, or they are 4 1/4 by 11, but we don't have any of that today. Instead, we have one super big piece of designer series paper, and this piece is 8.5 by 11. You are going to see both sides. You're only going to see a little bit of one side, like a tiny little corner, like this much, a little bit of a corner. So you aren't going to see a lot, but you will see a little bit. I am using this side as my main side, and I will tell you, because I found out when I was doing this with some friends, hello Cruz, that if you have paper that is directional, in other words, it has a definite pattern that's up and down or sideways, like stripes or something like that, you will need to get a piece of paper that does not have any kind of direction to it. You can tell that this paper has flowers on it, but they're kind of going in all different directions, so there's really no up and down. So if your paper has a definite up and down, then you need to find a piece, because of the way that we're going to fold it, part of your pattern will end up upside down. So you don't want to do that. Hey Laura from Michigan, good to see you, or see your name. So if you might need to get a different piece of paper. It works for anything that has any kind of big pattern on it. And this piece is actually one part of the free paper that you can get during Celebration with a $50 purchase. It is called, I forget what it's called. It's hand penned something. Hey Kathy. Hold on, I'm going to find the name. Sorry. It is beautifully penned. So it is actually kind of like a black and white version of the hand penned that's in the annual catalog. I'm going to, if I can get it out here real quick, get it out of the package anyway. Oh, wants to stay in there. There we go. So there's actually 3 different pieces in there. You get, paper stuck together here. So you get 4 pieces of 3 different patterns. There's this flower pattern, there is a striped pattern, and then there is a pattern that has like leaves on it. And then on the back, you can see there's some pretty flowers that you could color in. There's some polka dots, and the back of this one has kind of like little scallopy things on it. So fun paper to make things out of. So that's what we're going to use today, and you need a piece that is 8.5 by 11. So let me tell you what else you're going to need. So I'm going to move that aside real quick. While I'm here, since I'm holding on to these are the stamps that I'm going to use with this. I know you'd think, well, you should use a hand penned, which is this one. You can see it matches. But I just kind of like I just wanted leaves, and there weren't really very many leaves on this, so this is one of the new stamp sets that is in the July to December mini catalog, and so I'm going to use that. But there were no sentiments with that, so I picked this stamp set because I'm going to use just about all the sentiments on this stamp set. This is called All Squared Away, and this is in the annual catalog. So I'm using these two, which is a little different, but you can use anything you want. So these are the pieces that you're going to need. You're going to need a piece of designer series paper that is not directional, has a pattern all over, that is 8.5 by 11. Then you're going to need a piece of basic white, and this piece is 4 by 5.25. You're going to need another piece of basic white that's 3.5 by 4.75. You're going to need a piece that is 2 inches by 5 inches, 2 by 5. One that is 2 by 4. And then this little strip here is, hold on, I have a little sticky note. It's 3 3/4 by 1/2. This is just for a sentiment. If you have a smaller sentiment, it could be smaller or just a little bit wider. You are also going to need another piece of your designer series paper, and this is, we're going to use the back side. This is the back side of my paper, and this piece is, here we go, 4 1/4 by 3/4. So these two are kind of going to go on top of each other. And why do I have another, yeah, I'm not sure what, I have another sticky note, but I wasn't sure what that's for. I don't think it's for anything. All right, so this is what you need. So I'm just going to let that sit there for just a second, and you can look at it. And hi Meg, how are you? And just write all your measurements down. So, all right, so if we're ready, you're going to need your paper trimmer, and we're going to put all these little white pieces aside, and we're going to be working with this piece right here, your big piece, your 8.5 by 11. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to score it. So when you're scoring designer series paper, you want to make sure that you don't press down too hard on your scoring thing. It's not as thick as cardstock, so, and you don't, when we're folding it, you don't want it to rip or tear, so just kind of be gentle when you're doing it. I'm going to move my cutting blade out of the way as soon as I get it out of the way. There we go. And you're going to put the short edge along the top. This is the 8.5 edge, and we are going to score this in half, so we're going to score it at 4 1/4. Oops, see if I get that in there. Okay, so we're just going to kind of lightly score it at 4 1/4, and then we're going to turn your paper. You can counterclockwise, clockwise, it doesn't matter, because we're going to score it in half again. So we're going to score this at 5 1/2. So we're scoring it in half in both directions. So you can't really see on this paper very well, but it is scored. You can tell that it's scored. Okay, so now we can put this away, and you're going to need your bone folder. And we're going to do some creasing. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold it one direction and crease it. Then you're going to fold it the other direction and crease it. And then, because some of these are going to be turning the other way, we're going to go the other way. So you're going to flip it inside out, crease it again, and then do the same thing the long way. Oop, got my paper there. Okay, so it's going to fold this way and that way. So now you need to decide which side of your paper that you have is going to be the front and which one is going to be the back. So this side is going to be my back side. So I'm going to lay my front side. This is the one that's going to show the most, flat upside down. So this is the back side. And now you're going to need, if you don't have them, either sticky notes or a pencil where you can lightly pencil in because there's like four parts, kind of. So we're going to number them. 1, 2, 3, and 4, just so that we know which ones we're doing. And I think, actually, I'm going to turn mine this way because I want my scallops to go the other way. So it's not going to matter for this side to be which is, because this kind of has an obvious pattern to it. Because only this little corner in the number 2 is going to show. So, and I want my little scallops to go down and not up. So flip mine around. All right, so there we go. And I'm going to move this out of the way. Now we need to get your pencil and your ruler. And of course, my pencil has disappeared. Nope, that's a pen. You would think I would be more prepared for this. Okay. All right, so on the number 1, I guess rectangle, we're going to measure over across the top, and you're going to measure over to 2 1/4 inches. Get that right? Nope, I didn't. 2 3/4 inches, sorry. I knew it didn't sound right. So I'm just going to measure over 2 3/4, and I'm just going to make a mark. If I let in my pencil would come out, I will. Okay, and then you're going to measure down, go down, the same distance, 2 3/4. Get my, I'm gonna have to turn mine this way because I can't tell. I'm not above it, so I can't tell if I have the right measurement here. There we go. You're gonna make a mark. So it's 2 3/4 and 2 3/4. So you have a mark here at 2 3/4 and a mark here at 2 3/4. Okay, now you're gonna need your scorer, a trimmer again, and we're actually going to cut off that corner. So where your mark is at the top and your mark is on the side, you're going to line those marks up with the cutting track of your trimmer. Hope you can see that. So I have my one mark is here, and then the mark that I went down the side is right here. And I'm just going to put this down, and we're going to cut that off. So we cut off that corner. And we don't need this piece, so we can take that away. Okay, now we're going to measure on the number 4 one, and we're going to measure up the side. Let my ruler go in the correct direction. And we're going to measure up to 4 1/4 inches. I must have something sticky on my paper here. It doesn't want to go. There we go. So you're going to measure up 4 1/4 and make a mark. And then if you want to, you can measure, but if you scored correctly, your score line is at 4 1/4, and you can check it just to be sure. Mine's at 4 1/4. If you want, you can put a little mark there, but you don't need to. Your score line should be kind of your mark, because we're going to cut from this mark down to where the score line is over here, and we're going to cut off this bottom corner. So I'm actually going to move this up just a little bit and bring back my trimmer. So I have my mark here, and my middle is right here, and so we're just going to line them up in the trimmer we're going to cut there. Whoops. Scoot it around so I have it going in the right place. Sometimes it takes a minute just to kind of get it adjusted the right way. So I have a mark here up the side, and my middle mark is here. Close this up and cut it off. There you go. So this piece we don't need anymore, so you can save that for another project. And we are done with scoring, but we're not done with cutting. But now you need your paper snips. So, okay. You're trying to have you figured out what it's going to look like yet? I know, it's kind of fun, isn't it? Okay, so this is 1 and 3. Where the score line is between the 1 and the 3, we're going to cut only to the middle. So we're going to cut from the edge to the middle with your paper snips. Don't go past the middle. And I don't know if you can see on here. You can kind of see where there's like a little ridge. So I'm going to cut on one side of the ridge, and then I'm going to cut on the other side, and we're going to cut that little ridge out of the middle. So we're kind of taking a little bit of extra piece out of the middle because we need that so it'll fold up really nice. The scissors. So you only want to go right to the middle. And I cut just a little bit below my score line, and now I'm just going to cut a little bit above my score line just to kind of take out that little piece. So you're going to have like a teeny little sliver coming out from in the middle. You can kind of see how tiny it is, just little. Just need a little bit. And that's just going to help our card fold just a little bit better. Okay? So I hope everybody has that done. Hey, Sharon. So Sharon, who just joined us, or she might have been watching, she did this with me the other night. So, and she did a really beautiful card too. It was really nice. Okay, so now, think what I'm doing. Okay. So this edge right here on the number 1, we're going to put a little bit of glue, and then we're going to fold it over, and where the two sides are going to meet is just going to be glued over. You want a really thin line, and you want it close to the edge, and you can take your little stickers off of this part now if you want, because you don't really want the stickers inside your card. So I'm just going to put a real thin line kind of right along the edge. Glue right there. You can see it's right there. I'm going to fold this over. Make sure it kind of meets up with my other piece and it's even. If it's not, you can, do a little, because you want it to be even on the edges right here. So you want it to be even right there. And you're just going to kind of press that down. And if it's not quite even, you can just kind of take your bone folder and just kind of scoot it over just a tad. Okay, there you go. Okay, now we're going to put a little bit of glue on the number 4 on this edge here on the right side, and then right along the middle, but on the inside on the number 4 side. You don't want it right in the middle, you want it just to the right of the score line. So I'm going to put a little bit here, and then a little bit just to the right of the score line. You don't need very much, just a little thin line. Then you can take this off. Okay, and then this one is going to fold up. And you're going to make sure that edge is even, and then you're going to press this down. Got it caught on there. And I don't know if you can tell now, but we have made 2 little pockets on our card. Okay, and this one, this number 3, if you flip it over, that's going to fold this way, and that's going to be the back side of your card. So you're just going to fold it over, make sure everything's still kind of lined up. You can give it a good crease. And that's the inside of our card. So there we go. And then that's the inside. And we have two little pockets, and we're going to fill those pockets with all of the white pieces that we had. There we go. So, and I'm going to move these out of the way because we don't need those anymore. Don't need my numbers anymore. Okay, so this little card here is going to go into this pocket right here. These two right here, we're going to kind of make like bookmarks out of, and they're going to slide in to these two pockets like that. And then this other one, this one is going to go right here. So when I was making this the other night, and I told you this bigger size, I decided that I wanted more of my pattern paper to show. So I actually cut this piece down so that it was the same size as this piece. So it was 3.5 by 4 3/4, because I liked seeing the pattern all around my white paper. I like that look better than this one. So if you don't like your paper that's behind it, you can keep yours big. If you like it and you want more of it to show, then you're going to need to trim this piece down to this size, 3.5 by 4 3/4. So I'm actually going to do that now because I want mine smaller, because I want my paper to show. So I'm just taking the 4 by 5 1/4 and I'm cutting it down to 3.5 by 4 3/4. So this is 3.5. And this is 4 3/4. So that's just my personal choice. You don't have to do that, but I'm just kind of giving you another little option there. So this one is going to go in here. Okay, so now we're going to do a little bit of making like a bookmark. So you can do this several ways. If you have a sorry, had to go away. If you have this tag topper punch, then these will slide right in, and you can make this little scalloped part right there, and you can make, it'll make little bookmarks. Sorry, losing what I was saying. I have I purchased these Tailor-Made Tags, which is in the annual catalog, and when I saw them, I thought, you know, I don't really need tags. I have lots of tags and they're easy to make, but I love these because these, you can see where these are cut out. They have stitching around them. I kind of like the stitching, and it kind of rounds the corners at the bottom at the same time, and it's like one shot through and you have a whole, everything looks pretty, even punches the hole for you. So, although this obviously punches the hole for you too, so I'll show you with these. So if you're using these, you're just gonna, one of these, you can just slide it in and punch, and there you go. You have one already punched out. There's that one. So, but I'm going to show you a trick with these tags of how to make this one longer, because if you notice, this one is longer than this one, but I use the same die to cut them. So what do I do with my dies? All right. Oh, duh, they're right here. They're right here on camera, and I can't even see them. Okay, so these are the dies, but you can see that the longest one is not it's not as long as the one that I used. Actually, I used the other one. So I'm going to show you how to make it longer using the one die. It's really easy. I don't know if, yeah, these little round things that go on the top, you know, kind of like a, what do they call those? Reinforcers, for when you have holes. They actually have a little thing, it makes four, this one makes one a little different shape, this one makes the little round ones, but just so you know, they're there. That's what these are, in case you're wondering. Okay, so let me show you how to make this longer. And hold on. I cut my paper, so hold on just a second. All right, so hopefully I haven't lost you yet. So here we go. This is how you make it longer. To get my, move this out of the way so it doesn't smash it. Smash my card. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to run it through just like you normally would. And move that plate out of the way. I'm going to put it way up at the top. I'm going to put the plate on top, and you can kind of see where it is, but I'm not going to run it all the way through. I'm going to stop before it gets to the end. So you can still see the end right here. So that's as far as I'm going to go. I'm just going to back it up. I'm going to take that off, and you can see that it's partially cut. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back on and put this toward the end. And you can kind of feel where the stitching is. You can kind of feel that the die goes right back into place. I'm going to turn it the other way so that the bottom edge is going to go through first. And I'm going to just do the same thing. I put the plate on top. Hold on, I think it moved. Yep, it did. Well, it moved then because I just stuck it back out. There we go. Okay. And then it's just going to go back in, and you're going to do the same thing. You don't want to go all the way to the top, and just back it back out. And there you have it. One longer tag. So you can do that with any length, and it works great. So just a little fun thing to show you. There you go. Okay, so hold on, I'm gonna bring my card back here. And so I already did two of these. These are the other ones. I could use those too. If you wanted to, you could use a corner rounder, and you can round the corners of your bottom, but you don't have to. And I'm just going to do a little bit of stamping. And I guess I could show you the card that I did, couldn't I? Hello. All right. So this is different paper. But this is the card, and I stamped leaves on it in the little background. This one, I stamped a couple of them. And then, slide it back in. This one just has two leaves, so it can be used just like a regular bookmark. And when you opened it up, I put another little leaf down here and my little sentiment down there. This part right here, we haven't talked about that part yet. This is The other little piece that I had you cut, which was your 4 1/4 by 3/4, is this piece, and it's going to go right down there. And you want it to go, this is the, I don't know if you can see this, this is where the edge of the one pocket is. So you want it about halfway in between those two, and you're just going to glue it down just like that. And that's where that piece goes, because I almost forgot about that piece. If you want, you can put a little piece of, if your paper like mine, this one kind of shows up okay. Okay, so I want my scallop things to go the same as my thing up there, so that's why I just flip it around. You can put a piece of cardstock behind this to give it like a little border if you want. So my sentiment is really long for the one that I was doing. If yours is shorter, then you might obviously you might not need as big of a piece to go on there if you don't want. And you can also, I'm going to show you another one that I did too before I start stamping. This is my original one. When I did this the other night, I decided that I wanted to add a little pink to it, because this is obviously, this one I think is a little more manly, maybe, not as feminine. This one is a little more feminine version. So I actually stamped with some pink, and I added a layer of cardstock behind, and I actually stamped this one with the hand pen too. So, but I added an extra piece of cardstock behind. If you want to add an extra piece of cardstock behind, the measurements for that are 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. So if you, depending on what kind of paper you have or how colorful your paper is, you might want to do that. I also did it on the inside because remember I cut my piece smaller, so this piece is actually the same size. So you would need another piece the same size. So if you want to add a little color to yours, if you're using black and white paper, this is a great way to do it. Or if you just want a little more color on your card, or if you like matting things and just don't like the white, just add a piece of cardstock behind your white pieces, and that would be 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, because your white piece is somewhere. I have the measurements. Nope, that's not it. It's around here somewhere. Nope, none of those. Never where you're looking. Anyway, your white piece is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. I had to think for a minute. I had to subtract. Uh-oh, my sound is going in and out. That's not good. Okay. Could be because I was moving around, so that hopefully it's fixed a little bit. And I'll try and talk louder so it gets on the phone better. I'm filming this with my phone, and sometimes I think it's my phone, or I need it closer to me. So, all right. So I'm just going to do a little bit of stamping, and I stamped, what did I stamp? I used this leaf right here and this little background thing that's here. That's kind of the only thing I use from the stamp set, or those two. So, except for, yep. So there they are. They're stuck to my fingers. Ooh. Banged my thing there. So one leaf, and this is like a little splotch, kind of makes like little, you can see on here, makes like a little splotch. So the colors that I'm using, and I'm using for this one too because it's kind of the same, is smoky slate and basic gray. And then I also stamped the sentiment in black so that it would show up. You can see, so it'll show up on the tags. So I'm going to do the same thing. So this one is the smoky slate, and I don't want these very dark, so I'm actually going to stamp off first, even though this is kind of a lighter color, just to kind of make it lighter. Oops, I forgot to do that one. That's okay. Do it darker, and then I also did a little bit on, oh, there's my other tag, 3.5 by 4 3/4. And I'm also going to do it a little bit on here. Almost forgetting there. And then I have this piece that went inside the inside, and I'm just going to do down on the corner because I did stamp one of the little leaves down on the corner. Okay, and then I'm going to put this away. Well, actually I'm not, because yes I am. I had to think here what I'm doing. And then this is basic gray, and I'm actually going to stamp on this one, and I'm actually going to stamp off because I don't want it real dark on there. I want it a little bit lighter for that one. And this one, what do I want to put on that one? To think for a minute. Let's see what I put. Ah, that's what I did. Okay, we're going to put 2 of these in the middle, like this. I'm going to make one darker. And then I'm going to stamp some of the sentiments from this stamp set, which are this one, Good Things Grow, Like Our Friendship. I'm going to stamp that on this one in the middle. You're So Worth Celebrating. I'm going to put on the little strip that's going to go on the front. And on one of these, I'm going to put The Best Thing About Today Is You on one of the other ones. So this is actually going to be a birthday card. So, all right. So I want to do a couple more leaves. I want to do it kind of light because I'm going to stamp on top. We're going to do this one darker, this one lighter. And then I'm going to stamp in, actually I'm going to put some mattes on mine, so I'm going to actually stamp these instead of black. I'm going to stamp them in polished pink, which is this color. So we're going to do just be a little different. And this one says, You Are So Worth Celebrating. And then once we get all these stamped, then I'm going to put them together. So that's one. This one says Good Things Grow. I'm going to put that right here. This one says Like Our Friendship. Stamp that down there. This is the one that's going to go in the middle, or in the little pocket. And then I'm going to stamp this one that says The Best Thing About Today Is You. Go right there. And that one we're just going to leave plain. So, oh, I forgot my birthday one. This is the inside. And there's the one that says Happy Birthday. Oh, happiest of birthdays to you. Going to go right there. Hey, Kim. I'm glad you caught me live too. Okay, now we're just going to put all these together. I am going to put mine on mats just because now that I've stamped it in pink ink. Put a little ink on here. I forget which, somebody told me that it looks funny because I'm left-handed, so sorry about that. Because I glue left-handed. Guess I stamp left-handed. I've never thought about that. Okay, this one is going to go on the inside of our card because that's the happy birthday to you. A little glue on the back. Flip it over. Put it on. And I have another one of these. I'm going to put this on. So this card goes together pretty quick, but it's kind of fun because your card, instead of being made out of cardstock, is actually made out of your designer series paper. But there's enough, because you're putting some cardstock on the inside, like here, it makes it heavyweight enough that it doesn't feel like it's, you know, too thin to be designer series paper. And of course, Stampin' Up's designer series paper, it has a nice weight to it. It's not real thin. So this one, I'm going to just slide right into there. And now you're going to want to put some twine or string on here. This is some of the baker's twine that they have. So I originally was going to use black, but I'm not sure if you know that the white, that you can use your Stampin' Blends marker. You can see I kind of did it on a little bit of there. And you can color this with your Stampin' Blends marker. So if you don't have the right color twine, all you have is black and tan and white. If you have a Stampin' Blends marker, you can make your twine any color you want. So this is the polished pink. This is the dark. And I'll show you how I do it. Is I kind of hold one end and hold the other end, and then you're going to want to use the brush end, and just kind of go along the top. And then I kind of put mine underneath and kind of go underneath it too. So you just kind of want to make sure you kind of get it covered, and you can see it's covered on all four sides. So because I have two tags, I'm going to, and it dries pretty quick, just like the same as if you were coloring ribbon. I'm sure a lot of you have probably colored some of the white ribbon before, and it kind of works the same way. But you do want to get underneath, and it was easier to put your marker underneath and do it than to try and roll it, because you know it's always going to roll the other way when you really want to do something. So I'm just going to do a teeny bit more. Here we go. And now I have pink twine. So you don't need a whole lot. We'll just kind of cut this in half. So I just fold it in half, and I think it comes out the best when you take the loop end and put the loop end through your thing first. If I can get it through, I would anyway. There we go. Oop. Well, that didn't work very well. Hold on. There we go. And then kind of put your hand through it and pull the ends up, and that way the little loop part is on the front, and it just kind of, to me, it looks better than looking at that. I think it looks better that way. So that's why I do it that way. Let's cut that off. Loop it through the front. And if you don't have a tag topper, or if you don't have some dies to cut it with, you can just take, or pretend this is the thing, you can just take a corner rounder, or you can just decide that you're just going to kind of cut off the corners, and you can kind of make your own tag. Just kind of make it, you might want to measure and make sure that you're going to the right, that you're ending up at the same, kind of at the right angle. And yeah, I didn't do that very well. Just gonna do it a little bit more that way. There we go. And then just use a hole punch and punch it in right there, and then you kind of make, you know, a tag however you want. You don't have to cut as much off. You can cut smaller off. You can just use a corner rounder and do it that way. But anyway, there you go. So this tag is just going to go right there. This one's going to go in here. I might cut these a little bit shorter, just so that they're not quite hanging off. This one is going to be a little bit longer because it will hang off a little bit. And then put my "You're So Worth Celebrating" down here, and we're done. You can also add some bling if you want. You could put this on dimensionals. Can you believe it that there are no dimensionals on this card? Or I didn't put anything on dimensionals, because you know how much I love dimensionals. Oop, I just got glue everywhere. And there you go. And there's your card. It's the inside. They have two little bookmarks that they can use for later, and this little card can say whatever you want. And there you go. And there's one I did the other day with different paper. I'm missing this piece. This piece goes in there. And if you don't want to stamp your sentiment on there, you can just use a little circle and do it on that. And these I stamped a little bit different than the other ones, so you can see. It's that one. These I stamped kind of the same, the ones that I did today, because this is my original one that I started with when I did it to begin with, and I kind of just copied that, but we added a little bit of pink. So there you go. And you can see that if I wanted to, I could have put those little round things on here, which I didn't, but you could. If you wanted to add a little more color to it, like this has little round things on it. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll try and make some more. So if you have some designer series paper that you, like a bigger piece that you want to get rid of, and don't forget you have something on the inside too. So there you go. All right. Oh good, Meg, I'm glad you like it. So what is the flower set? This, I'm guessing you want to know this one. This is the hand penned stamp set. This is this flower right here, and then you use this to do the color, and there's a little leaf stamp inside to do the little leaves. So this paper is actually the hand penned, not hand penned. I got the name wrong again. Beautifully penned paper that's one of the free items that you can get during Celebration. So it's kind of like a black and white version of the hand penned paper, which is very colorful and really beautiful. So, but that's where the flowers came from. And the leaves came from this gorgeous leaves. It was this leaf right here and a little bit of, I don't know what you call that, little dots. I call those dots. So there you go. So I hope you all have a great night, and I hope you give this a try. And if you do, I'd love to see what you make. please show me a picture, send me a picture. Love to see it. So, have a great evening. That is all I have for Therapy Thursday, and I'll be back next week with another fun, hopefully, card to do. I already have one picked out, so I'm really excited about it. So, looking forward to it. So I hope to see you all next week. Have a great day, and hope your weekend is as great as your week. Good night.